Hello everybody, Mr. Sixpence here, and welcome back to Marble World. This is Paradise Island, a marble run which I've been building for about 480 years. We've got a lot of work to do on this thing, and by the end of this video, Paradise Island should be double the size. Let's get to work. Right, now just to give you an idea of what we're going to build today, over in this direction, we're going to make a massive volcano. And at the end of this video, we're actually going to send thousands of marbles into the volcano. We're going to make it erupt and see how good it is. We're also going to make a start on building the underwater scene for this marble run. And there's so much more work to do on this thing, like cliffs and caves and giant archways and all sorts of crazy stuff. But we're going to have to work on those features across some different videos. So with all that being said, let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do then is build a very basic version of our volcano over in this area. So let's get a piece of pipe and we'll just sort of connect that up and then make it the right size. There we go, that's our pipe, and that is actually going to be the sort of internals of our volcano. Now we're just going to rotate it so it's facing directly up into the sky, and we are going to make it much bigger, by the way. That's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to properties, and we'll try and make it 8 times. Whoa, look at, oh no, that is massive. Okay, that's good, that's what we want. We want this volcano to be really big and impressive. So that's going to go over in this direction, and it's directly straight on with that pipe right now. So let's put it all the way over here. I'm going to make it a bit taller as well, maybe double the height. There we go, just for now. Now it could get much bigger than that, of course, but just for the moment, that's roughly where it's going to go, and that's the inside of the volcano. So of course we are going to decorate it with rocks and all sorts of things on the outside. It's going to look fairly realistic, as you know, just like this sort of stuff over here does as well. But yeah, let's go back over there. It's definitely going to go much deeper as well, because what we're going to do in a minute is actually make this whole sandy area under the water here much deeper and much bigger, and it's going to be really awesome. I can't wait to do that, and that's what we're going to do right now actually. So now we've got the volcano in, let's go down here and start adding a lot of detail underwater. I'm actually going to use the same technique which I used up here to build this big rocky waterfall section, and I'm going to use that just down here as well to make the underwater section over here. So let's get straight into that right now, and straight away I've got some ideas. But we want this area over here to be quite shallow, so I'm not going to actually adjust this area too much. But what we do need to do is copy and paste this board. So now we've got a second one over there, look. We're going to have lots of these, by the way. I'm also going to get rid of the water over in this direction. We just don't need that right now, and we might even turn that into real water eventually, if we can. We'll try it out anyway with real water eventually, but right now we just chuck that over there and start to mess about with this stuff really and see what we can come up with. Okay, let's move this sand around over here. So we'll just do that, and then we're going to rotate it a bit and try and line it up with that pipe. There we are, that looks pretty good to me. Now we'll just move it in a bit, or quite a lot actually, because what we want to do is have this area still, but make it a lot deeper instead. So we need to get rid of the majority of that layer. At the moment, we can actually make that much smaller as well. Let's make that about 12 in size for now. That could work quite well, couldn't it? We'll just put that over there. That's very nice. Okay. Next, we're going to resize this board over here and create some more interesting shapes on the left-hand side. And my idea for this is just to sort of curve it around the edge a bit. So we just make sure that, you know, we've got to make sure the lines are absolutely perfect here. That's slightly off, isn't it? I'm actually going to make that a bit more narrow as well. Lovely, that's a good job right there. Now we are going to cover this up with rocks anyway, so it doesn't have to be quite perfect, but that's pretty good, isn't it? And yeah, there's going to be a whole sort of bunch of rocks over here covering up any imperfections and making it look a lot more detailed. And straight away you can see we've got this extra curve now going around to the right, and we are going to do that even more. So what we'll do next is actually copy this and paste it, move it over here and carry on that curve. We might make this one a bit more aggressive there, just so it's more obvious the shape is changing. So we'll just go over here. Lovely job, that is it right there. Okay, so now we can see a nice curve is sort of forming. We're going to do another one actually. We might as well do one more. There's actually going to be a lot of stuff over here as well, so we might as well just take that a bit further. Excellent, now we can see a nice curve. We've got the rough location for our volcano as well, but now we want to try and go a bit deeper. So let's copy this one again. In fact, what we could do is copy everything over here, paste it in, and then just lower it down and bring it out as well. And I'm not sure how this is going to go, but let's just try that and see how that looks. You might need to do some more adjustments, of course. Very good. Now let's do that again. So I'm going to copy and paste both layers this time and bring them both down. So now we've got even more. Look at that. That's really cool, isn't it? And yeah, of course, we are going to cover up all of the gaps here with rocks, and I'll fill some of it in with sand as well. So it's going to look hopefully quite natural and, relatively realistic and believable. But at some point, we are going to have to drop it off even further and go extra deep. And already we're getting quite close to the volcano, aren't we? So that's probably going to have to come back. Guys, this build is going to be absolutely massive. I can't even imagine how big it's going to be. We might have to put that over there now. That's going to look epic, isn't it? Look how big that's going to be from here. Let's try that for the moment. It might have to go out even further, but the underwater scene is definitely not going to be sacrificed in any way whatsoever. Okay, now we've got to go a bit deeper, so let's just grab the lower level here and copy and paste that again, but this time we're going to do the same, however, just make it a bit deeper than what we did with the previous layers, and let's just see how that looks right there. That's pretty good, isn't it? And eventually it is going to drop off quite a long way down, I think, and that's how we're going to get some really awesome sea creatures and little tunnels and loads of underwater stuff. It's going to be really awesome. Let's just bring that back in a bit as well. And here's another one which is now even deeper still, and would just, yeah, that's pretty cool, guys, isn't it? Yes. Okay, this is going to look amazing. I reckon we should maybe just take one of these now and just make it really, really big. So, and just kind of find out where the lowest level is. So maybe it's going to be down here. What do you reckon, guys? Do you think that's a good sort of depth? I mean, I don't want to go too deep. By the way, that's the bedroom. We started building this thing in the bedroom map, but it got so big that it wouldn't fit in here anymore. So we had to put it up in the sky. And, this is only like a quarter or even less than a quarter of the size it's going to be when it's finished. So now let's just go into properties here and make this thing ridiculously big. What about 50 times original size? Or that might be a bit... Actually, do you know what? That might be the right size for it. Let's try 50 in this direction as well. There we go. Yeah, that's probably necessary, to be honest. Oh my god. It's getting so big we can't even see. Like, it just... We're losing sight of it when we go to the end of the sand. Oh no. We might have to get an update for the game with more draw distance or something. Right, here we go then. We'll just put that there. It's going to cover a nice large area for now, at least. And I think that might be a good sort of deepest level to go to, because otherwise it's just going to be too big. I mean, that is probably deeper than it is tall right now, which is absolutely perfect. That's quite realistic, isn't it? So let's assume that this is now the very lowest point, just for now, of our marble run, right? Of course, it can change in the future. And by the way, this pipe, right, is probably going to go away. It's really just there so we can line things up, and, it's just part of the marble run for now, but we'd either make it invisible or we'll get rid of it completely and have lots of different routes that our marbles can actually use, because they are going to literally travel underwater. By the way, all of the marbles are going to travel down here underwater and then eventually get split off into loads of different routes and end up at the base of the volcano. They're all going to meet at the base of the volcano and enter it at the bottom and then blast off out the top really high into the sky and then carry on with the rest of the marble run. So all of this is literally part of the track, except it won't look like an ordinary track. It's going to look more decorative, a bit like this, as I said earlier. We're not using any traditional track pieces here. It's all sort of boards and different sort of shapes and things like that. I really want to try something here because we do have these special water blocks in the game. Now, if I just put that down, look, we've got some real water here. Now, we could use this. Let's just make it really big. How's that for size? That's quite big, isn't it? Let's do another 50 in that direction. There we go. And let's just see what it looks like, because, oh my goodness, that's so awesome. Wow, it just transforms this whole thing. I'm not sure. We'll use it if we can. We're going to definitely use this if we can, but it might cause some big problems. We just bring it up to the level of the ship. There we go. So now the ship is floating in the water. And oh my goodness, that is so cool, isn't it? And of course we can make it deeper as well. So if we make that like 50 deep as well, like that, and then the whole thing's underwater. Okay, let's bring that down back to ship level. And then all of this area now is underwater, and it's going to affect the marbles physically as well. So they are going to slow down and all sorts of things. So as I say, we might be able to use this eventually for most of the water in this marble run. But that's not necessarily going to happen because I really don't know how it's going to affect other parts of the marble run. It may not be possible at the moment. Oh no, I flooded the boat. The ship's sinking. No, quick. Let's get rid of that right now and carry on. By the way, the benefit of using this glass sheet over here is that you can actually see under the water much better from above, so it might actually look better to use this as well. It's really, it's a bit of a dilemma, isn't it? But if we look from above, you can see that we can really see nicely the underwater, and we're going to have so much decoration under here. It'd be quite nice to be able to see it from above as well, especially from up here when you're actually on the track and stuff. Anyway, let's get out of the way and carry on building. I've just made this area over here a bit longer as well, just because we are going to actually build some really awesome stuff in this direction too, and I want to make sure we've got enough sand to cover that, so that's done. Okay, so now let's just make our volcano much deeper. What about 10 times the size? Okay, is that good? Let's put right to the bottom. Now we want a bit of a gap down here because of course that's where the marbles are going to enter it, just roughly down here like that. Okay, and is that going to be poking out the water? Yes, it is. Let's just bring it down a bit, I think, because that might be way too big. That's a bit better, isn't it? Now this thing here, right, this volcano was actually originally an underwater volcano, which has, you know, over time sort of erupted under there and built itself up above the surface of the water. So it is going to be sticking out of the water, but only just. And that way we can still kind of see all the lava and everything from the island here above the surface, but it just carries on mostly, so like 90% of it or 80% of it is going to be under the water. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I'm actually going to delete this tube right here like that. Okay, so now it looks a bit more natural, doesn't it? And look up here, guys. I've just spawned in 905 marbles. And eventually they're going to get across this bridge, fall down the hole and head towards our volcano, which is only literally just that cylinder at the moment. But we just want to try and get an idea of what this thing is going to be like, sort of. Anyway, so here they go. Look, round the corner past that rock there, which is just in the way, an obstacle for them to get past, down this spiral here. And by the way, all of this section here is going to get upgraded as well. So this track is going to be, you know, probably sort of supported by rocks or something. It's not just going to be floating in the air in the end. Here they go, across the bridge then, down the hole. It's not actually completely accurate at the moment. I still need to work on this section, but most of them will go down the hole there. And look at that, we'll follow them down. We are now underwater, or it will be in the future, and they're going to head on their way down towards this volcano. This is awesome. Look at that, guys. Isn't that so cool? And of course, we will actually be splitting up the marbles at this point, you know, so they can actually go in different directions. We're going to make sure some go left all of the way, maybe under the ship and over here past some shipwrecks and dangerous sea creatures. Some are going to be made to go to the right as well. They're actually already going to the right, aren't they? So they all go in different directions. So make use of this huge, expansive underwater area. Whoa, look how many are falling off. Guys, this is amazing. Look how deep it is. I didn't realize quite how big that drop is. This is amazing. And then they'll eventually all merge into this volcano, the very base of it. And that's why I've got it raised up off the floor slightly, so it allows them to actually get inside the volcano. And they'll be, you know, this will all be covered up with rocks. It's going to look like a real proper volcano in the end. And then we'll have, you know, maybe some sort of gravity pads in here so the marbles can float up out the top. Or we might even be able to make a giant cannon sort of thing, which just fires them really fast and high into the sky. But we've got to be careful though, because the thing is, we have to control them up here because they're going to be carrying on the marble run afterwards. So this is literally just part of the marble run. So we can't just launch them about 2,000 miles up into the sky because they'll never come back again. We need to put a limit on it somewhere, but you know, rest assured we'll make it as impressive and as powerful as possible without actually breaking anything. But this is very cool. It's actually really deep, isn't it? It looks even deeper from down here. That drop there is massive. Anyway, it's only just the beginning of this section. It's going to get way better, so let's carry on and see what we can do next. And this, by the way, is just a little example. We've got some rocks here, a plant and some grass and some sandy slopes as well, just to cover up these gaps and add a bit of character to the underwater scene. I will do most of that stuff off camera, by the way, but it's just to show you a quick example of what we're likely to see. Okay, now it's time to work on this volcano a bit, and what we want to do is create some lava at the very top here, and also some rocks to go around the edge of it and down to the floor of the ocean down here as well. So that's what we're going to work on right now. My idea for lava is just to get some of these shapes here. Now, by the way, this might not work, so this might change completely, but what you're watching now is me just trying stuff. We're going to see what it's actually like. What we're going to do now is just pick some colors for these. Okay, so let's do some solid colors like orange, red as well. We want some black in there, maybe some grey, but let's just stick with that that black for the moment. We're also going to use some transparent ones as well, so transparent orange, let's see, transparent red maybe, and we're going to combine these and maybe some more as well. In fact, let's get a few more blocks just over here, and we'll just get a couple more colours, because I reckon we want yellow. Let's just get the yellow there, and maybe some grey, just to yeah, we'll just see how that works for the moment. Okay, we can also use some smoke effects like that, which is going to be amazing. We've got bigger ones here like that, which I'm not sure, we might use that as well. And we also, wait, what is this one? Oh, that's quite good actually. Okay, we're going to use that as well, but not too much because it might really tank the performance of the computer. But we could, oh, what's going on? What's happening? Okay, I'm losing control of it all. We can also use the fire potentially as well. So what we'll do now is we'll leave these things on the edge as a kind of template or palette or whatever it's called, and we'll start to fill in this gap with stuff and make it look a bit like a layer of lava. So now let's just copy a few orange blocks like this. We'll just get another one there, and we'll get some red ones as well, and we'll just gradually build up, you know, an area using these. Now, of course, what we're going to have here is actually holes in this thing, because the marbles are going to have to come through, as this is literally part of the track, part of the marble run itself. So I've got some ideas for that, and basically what we're going to do is angle these blocks like this. So underneath, the idea is that no marble is going to get stuck underneath, and at the same time it's got a really nice kind of texture on top like this, where we can start to really build up a nice layer of lava. And what we can see there, of course, is one of the gaps that we're hopefully going to be using for the marbles to go through. That might have to be a bit bigger, and you know, it's going to take a lot of testing to make sure, so we'll have to do lots of runs, send the marbles into it, and just make sure that they all get through eventually. But this is only very early stages, so it doesn't have to be perfect right now. I think with the transparent ones, I'm going to have them a bit further up into the air. They'll just be slightly more up to give some depth to the actual lava itself, a bit like it's sort of bubbling up and stuff, right? So it's a bit more textured. I'm going to go ahead and do most of this off camera, of course, because it will take me quite a long time to do. And there we go. So that is the first version of the sort of, you know, lava layer in the volcano. Now, of course, that is going to change a fair bit as we do lots of testing. It is going to improve a lot, but hopefully, I mean, let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think of that? Do you quite like? I quite like it actually, but let me know what you think as well. And of course, we are going to add smoke. You know, let's just put some smoke in there right now, just to give it a bit of extra effect. There we go, a bit of smoke, a bit of fire as well, and that's going to take some. That's going to take some work for sure. But I reckon that's good. That's getting tasty now, isn't it? It's getting a bit more tasty, and soon that's going to look really awesome. Anyway, before we go further with the lava, I reckon we should get some rocks around the edge of it, because then we'll get a real idea if this idea is actually any good or not. Oh, yes, look at this, guys. So now we've got the volcano pretty much complete. You know, we can add a couple of changes here and there if we want to, but that is the general idea for our volcano now. So underneath, of course, it goes all the way down to the seafloor. The marbles are going to come down, and they can actually fit through. They can fit through the rocks, through the holes here, get underneath the volcano, and then up here and shoot out the top. And hopefully, you know, we'll have to test it first, but hopefully that'll work with a few adjustments. I've got smoke coming out, and I've got fire and all sorts of things, so I'm really happy with that for the time being. But let me know in the comments what you think about it as well. I've also been working over here on the sand and the rocks and things, just to cover up the gaps a bit and add some detail. And these ones up here are great, because that is really a base layer of rock which has been exposed as the sand has been swept off it by the currents underneath the water. So that's just a few ideas to be working with right now. And I've got some very special ideas for all this kind of stuff, which is going to take it to a whole new level, but we'll get to that at a different time. Now that brings me on to the next point, because what we need to do is actually do a curve a bit like we've got over here, but over here snaking the other way around to the right hand side. So there will be some shallow areas just below the cliff all of the way around the edge, and that's why what I'm going to do is curve this sandy area and the rocks and stuff all of the way around and keep that kind of structure going, but follow it around. And then just behind the volcano it might get a bit deeper, and then of course we'll have to find a way of joining it back up over here, because we might need to change that a little bit as well as we join it back. But we're not going to do that bit today. We're going to focus on just trying to work on this part over here a bit. And over here between the waterfalls and the volcano, kind of in this area, I'm actually going to have a sandy beach, and that is where the pirates initially set foot on shore after they sailed into this area. So that is going to connect it all together physically, but also in terms of the story as well. It's just going to add that extra layer of kind of story and history to the place. So that's what we're going to do. And I think first of all, before we actually do that, we need to start curving this around. Right, hopefully this is going to work then. What I've done is I've selected all of this big sort of shelf here, or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. But all I'm going to do is copy and paste it like this, and then just rotate it. Oh, yes. Okay, now is that any good? Let's just move it over here. Yes, guys, isn't that pretty good, actually? Now, I might not... hang on a minute. Is that too sharp of a bend? What we could actually do to make it more of a curve is just tilt it a bit more that way and make the bend more gradual. Right, let's stick with that at the moment and just sort of reposition it a bit. And, oh my goodness, this thing is going to be so big. How about that? And then we do another one over here and then rotate that again. And, yeah, something like this. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually, isn't it? I think that's very, very good. I kind of want this to be 90 degrees, a bit more squared off, because then we can have the beach kind of facing in that direction, which would be pretty cool, I think. There we go. So it's exactly 90 degrees now, as you can see up here. Now let's get another one and rotate it again, because now we've got to go behind the volcano. At least that's the plan anyway. Now, is that going to be big enough? Yes, I think so. It is going to cut fairly close behind the volcano, but there will be a bit of water behind it, I think. So we might have to just copy that and go a bit longer with it. There we go. We keep it nice and in line, and then just go a little bit further behind. That's it. Very, very nice. Okay. You know, we can always change this stuff if it doesn't work, right? This is just a very good first attempt, hopefully. What we're doing right now is literally curving it all of the way around. I'm probably going to stop around this kind of location, because it is actually going to start to go deeper, just sort of near this volcano, and that's where the big archway is going to be. So I'm not going to go too much further than this, but let's just see if we can, you know, just get a good idea of what's going to happen later on. There we go, look. And a lot of this stuff behind the volcano might actually be a really big rocky area where the lava has, you know, solidified in the water and formed sort of land above the water level, potentially. I'm not exactly sure yet. But, you know, we've got to think about that stuff as well. What I need to do, actually, is delete this little palette here, which I've been using to build the volcano. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. That's a really good starting point. The only problem with this, right, is that when we go over here, you can't see the marble run anymore. Or what part of it, anyway, because the whole thing is the marble run. But, and if we go over here as well, we lose we lose focus. Maybe one day the graphics will be updated a bit in this game and we'll be able to see twice as far or something. That would be amazing, actually. I really hope we get further draw distance so we can see more stuff. Maybe I can turn it up in the options, actually. No, apparently there's no option for it at the moment, but maybe in the future, yes, we can sort of double it or triple it or whatever, because, you know, I can easily handle it with my machine, so it'd be quite nice to be able to do that for sure. Okay, I've just made a few adjustments to this. I just brought it in a bit closer to the volcano and adjusted the corners a bit, but that's something we're going to improve over time. But we've got one more big thing to do before we finish the video, and that is to test our volcano. For the very first time, we're going to send thousands of marbles into it at the bottom down here, and we'll see if the marbles can get from there right up to the top and out past that layer of lava lava without getting stuck, hopefully. Now, don't worry about this red ring here. Of course, we do need it, but we don't have to see it. I can make it invisible eventually. I've just got it there painted red so you can see how this thing is set up and how it works. So down here, look, we've got our spawner and a little track and a booster pad just to send marbles in. And when they get inside the volcano here, there's a gravity ring which they can go through into the center. That's going to give them -1 gravity, so they're actually going to float up to the surface of the lava up here, and hopefully they're all going to break through that lava there. Now, of course, some of them might get stuck. This is our first attempt, so we're not sure how this is going to work yet. This is literally a test, but hopefully it will work quite well. Now, when they get through here, they get through, they're going to hit this ring up above in the air, and that is going to give gravity back to the marbles, enabling them to actually fall back down to the ground again, okay? Otherwise they just sort of go off into the sky forever and they'd get deleted eventually. So that is the idea behind this test, and we can either keep this method or we could change it if we need it to fit in with how the track and the landscape is going to work in relation to it. But let's go down here now, press the button and see what happens. Right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Now we do have a marble counter on the top right hand side of the screen just to see if any of them do get deleted eventually and see how many we can send into it. But already 500 marbles are going in, so they're going to rush through here, hit that gravity ring there and go up the tube. That's quite successful so far. Let's go right up to the top. Whoa, look at this, guys, it's working. Yes. Wow. Okay, loads of them are getting through the lava. We'll have to check in a minute if any of them are getting stuck, but that is very, very promising so far. And then of course they're going to hit this ring up here, and by the way, that's nearly 2,000 marbles we've got on the map right now. So they're going to hit the ring, and look, they are actually falling back down to the ground again, okay? So yes, it's working really well. That's over 2,000 marbles we've got at the moment. Let's go inside then and have a look. I'm still spawning them in, by the way. Let's go in here and just see if any of them are getting stuck. I'm going to stop spawning them in right now so we get a good chance to see what's happening. And we do have a few traffic jams building up just under here. Look, that block as well. I think those are going to be very easy fixes, which we can try to make right now. Let's do this one first then. So all that's going to take is to just come here and rotate the block slightly. Oh, one just escaped. Let's just move it over here into this gap. Look, there they go. They've all come out now. And maybe if we move it over here, just like that. Yeah, perfect. So now it looks quite good on the top still. But underneath, I think they've all become unstuck. And there's another one over here. So let's just find out what we can do to solve this problem. Maybe just move this yellow block a bit. Oh, look at that. They're going, yes. Yes, they're going. Oh, they're falling back down again, some of them. Oh yeah, that's because of course they are falling from this ring back onto the volcano again. They're going to have to go all of the way through and then back up. We've got a few stuck here as well, so let's just rotate this yellow block a little bit. There we go, they're all through now. Any more? There's a few here as well. That should be an easy fix. Maybe I can just move this orange block down here a little bit. Let's just turn off grid mode. We go, just searching for a gap, and they're going up there, look, so that's pretty good. Yep, we've got rid of those. There's a big gap here, so I reckon we can make that a bit smaller and free up a space here, maybe? It's quite hard to see, isn't it? Oh, okay, they've gone. There is still a gap here as well. There's two more little areas there. There's one here, look. Oh my goodness. My camera controls are all really confusing now. All I'm going to do here is tilt this perhaps this way. There we go. That one's freed up. And finally, we've got one here. And of course, in a minute, we're going to test the whole thing again and just make sure that they can all get through on their own the next time. Fantastic. I think we've freed up every single one. I can't see any more. We've lost about 1,500 marbles. They've been deleted by going off the map, but that's okay for now. Of course, it's nowhere near actually complete. Anyway, let's try this again then. We'll put another 2,000 in and see if any get stuck. Off they go, straight into the center of that volcano. It's working already. They're falling back down to Earth down here. And of course, this is all going to be underwater eventually. This is apart from the very top of the volcano, of course. And how many do we have now? Over 1,000 marbles have gone in. They're coming out very, very nicely indeed. There might be a couple that get stuck on top as well. That is a separate issue, which of course we can sort that out as well. But we'll just first of all try and get the underside done. And there is a traffic jam here, but look at that. It is actually sort of moving, but we may need to make some more adjustments to get that a bit more fixed. Let's stop spawning them in here and see what happens. That's definitely better, isn't it? We only have one traffic jam as far as I can see, yes, which is over here, okay? So that's the only problem, and all we have to do, I reckon, is rotate this yellow block and then maybe move it a little bit like this. So we can create a gap. Oh, sorry. We can create a gap in there. They've gone through there. And one more gap here. So we just need to move this a little bit here as well. Maybe rotate it a bit more. There we go. Just, yes, good. We opened up that gap a bit. That is fantastic. Let's give it another test. We'll do another 2,000 just to make sure we, that's plenty, isn't it, for a test? 2,000 marbles. If there are going to be any traffic jams, they will be created with 2,000 marbles, I'm sure. That's 1,000. Let's go and have a quick look in here. And please don't have any more traffic jams. 1,500 now. I can't see any, actually. That looks really, really good, doesn't it? It's performing incredibly well. 1,700, 1,800 now. And so far, I can't see any marbles which are stuck. Oh no, look, over here, we've got some just stuck there. Oh, that's a shame. But again, it's probably a very easy fix. Let's stop now. That's 2,100 marbles. And it looks like we've only got a few stuck. There's one here, unfortunately. Maybe we can just create a... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, they're all coming back down again. We just make a bit of a gap there, look, so they can fall back down. That's sorting out two issues in one go. There's another one here. So what we need to do, I think, is just angle this one a bit more. Make it roll out. There we go. That's done. There's one here as well. So all we have to do there is probably just tilt it this way a bit. That way. That's what I mean. There we go. Nice. And of course, there might still be some issues with it, but I'll do most of the fixing off camera. But I just want to show you guys that A, it does work, and B, how we can fix it if we need to. Isn't that great though? It really is performing very, very well. What a great start. I didn't expect it actually to work that well. For the first time, so I'm very, very happy with that. Let's delete all the marbles, and obviously, as I said earlier, we can make this whole thing invisible like that, so you can't actually see the ring, but it's still there and it will still affect the marbles. There we go. So now it's still going to work, look, but we just can't see it. We can turn that off. That's fantastic. We'll do the same with this one as well, so that is now going to be invisible. That is basically it for this video. We have now finished the building for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. And this thing is going to keep getting better. We will finish it. It will take me about 200 years. But we will finish this thing eventually. And it's going to be absolutely amazing when it's done. Please do subscribe if you have enjoyed it. Also, you might want to smash the like button and hit the bell as well if you want to be notified of when my future videos release. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.